get too mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab a bat, I don't know, my rapper blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And I ain't gonna wish you just a fuck up real bad. Shut up.
Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.
Yeah! Let me talk to you. War game.
What's up, Heel of the Ring podcast? I am the host, BX Sports Jedi, Ked, the Don of the Watch Along, here to talk about NXT tonight. The NXT right after Stand and Deliver. The big topic, the elephant of the room, is Bron Breakker. Everyone knows that I am a big Bron Breakker fan. I have my shirt on. Big Bron Breakker fan from the beginning. And my goodness, the hypocrisy of the NXT. Listen, I am one who used to go to the NXT. This might not be a favorable video in my case. I don't care, because it's the Heel of the Ring podcast. I am one who goes, and you can say used to go, because I've not gone for over 6 weeks. Then it's because you saw it there, folks. You see the reason why I stopped attending the NXT programming. The hypocrisy of the, of course, you could choose to root. You could choose to go and gather yourself and like who you like. I don't care about that either. But you can't stop being blatantly hypocritical. It looks bad on TV. No wonder why programs like Wrestling Inc. earns the living crap out of the NXT crowd. And it's right there. Right there, right in front of you. The hypocrisy. Mello, save us. Oh, Mello this. Mello, we love Mello. I must be when Mello, and I am happy and thankful. Listen, I am a big Bron Breakker fan, and I know it was time for him to lose the title. You can't have range. You can't have title reigns forever. I get it, especially in developmental. You want to give everyone a chance to learn how to be a champion, to learn how to feel, how to conduct themselves as a world champion. I get it in NXT, but the hypocrisy. There's a reason why you cannot listen always to the fan base, because they want you to change titles like hot potatoes. I love the fact what they did here. They did not establish Bron Breakker as a heel. They just established Bron Breakker fed up, tired of the BS. I almost cursed. The BS from the crowd. He said it. We hear what the crowd, and that crowd is very bipolar. Very bipolar. They love Mello, and then when Bron did the heel turn, what pissed me off, one more time. Wait a minute, whoa. You were out there screaming Mello, and Mello's well-deserved of a world champion. Don't get me wrong. I am not here to poo-poo or disingenuine or take away the credibility of Carmelo Hayes. He is a hell of a... I've had the privilege to meet him in person, have a conversation with him, as well as Matrique. And Christian is a hell of a guy. Both of them, great gentlemen. And awesome. But we're talking about the business side of wrestling. You listen to the fan base, you stay for the fan base. Again, that's the problem. And of course, now we all know that what's going on, and I'm not doing this is not a video about talking about what's going on with Vince McMahon, creative. This video is about Bron Breakker and the NXT Performance Center There's an issue there. There's an issue. Too many flip-floppers, back and forth, bipolar. It doesn't look good for television. It doesn't look good for crew 4. Remember, the NXT USA platform is for the world to watch the developmentals, not for us to cater and dictate who we want, who we don't want. Let creative tell the story and push the performance. Now everyone loves Bron Breakker. Give one more shot to Carmelo Hayes. I'm not in for that. I'm sorry. If you wasn't a Bron Breakker fan when he was champion, when he was crushing, and now that you turn heel on Carmelo on Hayes, when you guys, because I was one. You know what? I understand you can't have the title forever. You can jump on Bron Breakker's bandwagon now. You take that and stay with it. The back and forth. First it was like, we want Waller, the Waller Hive. We want Grayson Waller's world champion. Oh wait, we didn't win. Oh, let's come on Hayes. Now we want Breakker again. You cannot have hot potato back and forth of exchanging of titles. I understand this is developmental, and you got to understand, and you got to try to make these champions learn how to be champions when they come to the main roster, how to conduct themselves. I get that. But you got to allow these folks to tell a story. You got to allow these champions to tell a story and find out what adversity, what overcome. And I like this. If Breakker's not going to the main roster as they were speculating, because whatever's going on with the sale of Endeavor and so forth, and whatever's going on with McMahon, creative, all that other, that's another whole video, that could go on for hours back and forth of all the uncertainties of the World Wrestling Entertainment Company with Endeavor. But tonight, when it comes to NXT with the Breakker, Carmelo Hayes, Bron, it's easy. Again, it's easy to get over and to elevate yourself as a heel, while Bron Breakker was getting over as a face. And it wasn't for all of us who sits there every freaking Tuesday night in the Performance Center. It was for all the other people around the country, around the world, young children. Who listen? I happened to go to a couple house shows, and you see the young children with the Bron Breakker shirts. They were catering to a baby face toward the next generation of performers. I'm happy for Breakker to Bron to go a heel. Now you could put him on together with Cora Jade and let Cora Jade be his mouthpiece. Perfect. Let him go in there, be a mouthpiece. Cora Jade now could cut his promos. We all know they have a relationship. We know that. Everyone knows that in their mother. They're dating. They're exclusive to one another. Now you could have her cut her promos, and you wanted to unleash a big Papa Pump. Now what's the next complaint when Bron Breakker has the heel? Oh, he's too much God Steiner. We can't complain. You guys in the Performance Center pushed this Bron Breakker heel narrative. We thought it was boring. I could hear it. Bark, bark, bark. The disrespect. Bark, bark, bark. Now, if he turned heel, when he's heel now, and he didn't distinguish he was heel. To me, I felt that he was fed up. He was being mocked. He was gracious enough to give the title. He was leaving the ring. You call him back again. Now you're gonna handshake. It's like, dude, enough. This is an athlete. Enough with the pageantry. He gave you your title. You gave each other respect. Let me go on my way. You kept pushing the button. That's the way I took it. But if they're gonna make Bron Breakker a heel, you team him up with Cora Jade. You let him have a mouthpiece. You let him go out there and wreak havoc with Cora Jade. And if they want to make a small group there, you make it faster. You could. If not, you keep those two together, one another, and then you bring them both up when it's time come. Now, where we go with Carmelo Hayes with this title now? To me, the adversity there, he looked weak. He looked weak. You know what? There's a strike one there. Personally, he should have went away. Bron should have been brought up, and you bring in Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes should have been the next guy. Remember, Cameron Grimes took the North American title away from Carmelo Hayes, and vice versa. You bring Cameron Grimes back in the fold. Let Carmelo Hayes have a nice title run defense against Cameron Grimes. But now Breakker has turned possibly heel. The way he closed out that NXT just a few minutes ago. You know what? Sometimes we just gotta let creative do and just sit back and enjoy the wrestling. When we want to sit there and be creative, be the creative and control and try to hijack and overtake a show, it doesn't look good. Especially give them one more shot, one more time. It's all over the social media. How much embarrassing we look there at the Performance Center. How we look like fools that we don't know up and we flip flop. I'm disappointed. You know, this is and then the thing is, you see people fighting amongst themselves, right, on the NXT bus lines, and they're sitting there practically holding hands together in the same freaking row too. I mean, come on. I'm watching tonight, and I'm like, you are unbelievable. To take away from a hell of a stand and deliver, by the way. And it might not be the most popular. You know what? It might not be popular. It might not be me. And you know what? This is the truth. It's the way I feel. I go there. I used to go there now. I'm going to go there now to count 10. Used to go there. And it's just too much nonsense. It's this is what you guys in the Performance Center wanted to cheer, and this is what they heard you, because they don't want you hijacking and making the show look terrible when you booze and dislike. You know, you got people when the women's title, you get Zoe Stark taking on Indy Hartwell, and when Zoe Stark's come, you got two jackasses in the front turning around and giving their back to the camera. When meanwhile, you shouldn't be there in NXT, first of all, pushing little kids down the stairs. If you want to get real. Okay, yeah. Just go look at the video. The two jackasses that got up and turned around, those are the ones that pushed the kid down almost by Christmas down the stairs because he was walking too slow, and it was a handicapped kid, by the way. Yeah. Meanwhile, they were banned for a week, and they're back in there again, acting like fools, standing up and turning around on the crowd. It's a shame. It's a shame. But meanwhile, they want to cater because they're afraid of them hijacking the show. And they're going to cater and change the whole script because they're afraid. And you heard Bron Breakker say it. We hear you out in the back. We hear the crowd calling that. It's not about us in the Performance Center that they're doing NXT shows for. It's for a brand across the United States into the world. Globalizing the NXT WWE brand, they're not catering to Orlando crowd. We get the perks because we get the free tickets and we get to go on the bus, and they give us transportation. They allow us to go watch this product for free. It's not for us to hijack it. It's not for us to hijack the damn show. Yes, you could cheer for. I'm not saying don't cheer for your fans. Don't cheer for your favorites. No. There's a wonderful lady who brings her flags of her favorites of their ethnicity. You got the lady who brings all types of flags for the Irish, for the English. Great. And of course, you see that my main guy sits there with his heritage, with his Puerto Rican flag in the front. No problem. But when you want to come above and beyond and hijack a show, it doesn't look good. That's why they criticize us in NXT. This is why guys like Wrestling Inc., Wrestle Talk, they make fun of the people in the Performance Center because we keep acting like idiots. Yes. This is why they attack us. You know what? Anyway, one thing good about YouTube, you can watch this video over again. I promise you, if you go put on Wrestling Inc. right now, they're making fun of the Performance Center crowd. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. And I take pride of where I live at and where I attend to be being clowned by people that not even in the city or not even sitting with us. You know, that's just why I did the Heal the Ring podcast NXT review. I asked folks, a bunch of my friends that go to the show and join me on the podcast. Some of them come on, some of them don't. Some of them, they busy. They got real life issues. They got to make bills. They can't always come on and do a podcast. I asked them to come on and join. And to hear their perspective. So like that, we don't get that stereotype. But when we get this, when we see what we saw at the end of NXT here, when we just saw what we saw in NXT right now, Those idiots on the other program, excuse, and if I offend you, wrestling and all the other content creators, I apologize. But we're giving you fuel to attack us because of the idiocy that we see there. Unbelievable. A hell of a stand and deliver. It should have been a beautiful transition with, Carmelo Hayes lifting the title, walk away, get on the next opponent. And of course, they did an audible. They did an audible. You guys were complaining that Grayson Waller didn't win the title. And you know what they did? They did an angle out of it because you guys, we all complain about Grayson not beating Bron. So let me ask you this. So if Grayson Waller would have won that title in vengeance over Bron Breakker, so it was Carmelo Hayes was supposed to take it from Waller. So Waller's supposed to be in, I think that's more of a slap in the face. Waller as a 1-month champion and dropping it to Carmelo Hayes, personally. Carmelo Hayes deserved it. Carmelo Hayes, at the end of the story, like it or not, Carmelo Hayes should have been the world champion on Stand and Deliver. Don't get me wrong. It's like I'm not here trying to hold the pom-poms or being a cheerleader for Bron Breakker. I have this shirt on correct right now, and I am a Bron Breakker fan, but I'm not here to put the pom-poms on Bron Breakker. I'm here saying we got to stop trying to hijack the WWE shows. We got to stop that. Let's enjoy it. As a matter of fact, in the beginning of the show, before we were on a delay on the USA Network, I chose not to go no more for just take some time off from NXT. I chose. It was delayed because there was the Fire Vince chants coming out. Yeah, we heard it on TV on the USA Network. And rightfully so. You know what? We're not here to debate if it's rightfully so, not rightfully so. We got to stop hijacking it. You know what? If you didn't like the WWE product, don't go. Don't spend your money. Oh, wait. NXT's free. Forgot about that. So don't complain. Don't complain. Don't be there. Don't be there with your aluminum foil face there and go there if you don't like the product, if you don't like who's champion right now. Listen, I didn't like Roxanne Perez as the world champion. I said I didn't like it. I stood quiet. I like the fact that she's a Latina and she represents the Latina culture and she's a Latina world champion. I get it. I love it. Great. But I think she wasn't ready for world title. She wasn't ready. Again, we got to stop hijacking. Because our favorites don't win doesn't mean it sucks. It doesn't mean it sucks. There's a story being told. There's a story being told. Listen, I'm a big fan of Anofe and Malik, and I would love them to win the World Tag Team titles, but they don't win. You know what? It's developmental. I understand there's a story being told. I'm a big fan of them. Got the chance to meet both of them. Awesome dudes. I would love them to hold the world titles, but you know what? When they lose, they lose. That's part of the program. It's part of the show. That's part of, you know what? It's not their time yet. You know, I'm not a big fan of Jensen and Brooks Jensen and Dunn. Not a fan of them. But when they won those those UK titles. I get it. That's part of the program. I love them when they came into and they unified those titles. They try to unify it. I like it. But I get it. Everyone knows that I do not like Andre Chase. I don't like Chase U. I'm gonna be honest. I dislike it, but I understand the purpose in the NXT. I don't turn my back like an idiot, like a moron, turn around when it comes out. I'll heckle him, but in a good way. Not nothing that is distasteful, just like a classic heel. Not disrespectful. When he loses, I'm not a fan of it. But I understand why Chase U is there in NXT. I get its purpose. I get it. But that doesn't mean I have to hijack or have to cater to me with the Chase University. They don't. They don't have to cater to my liking. You know what? And if you saw my watch along, one of my favorite matches in Stand and Deliver, and I keep saying it, and I'll still say it, and I'll probably say it. It was the undercard with Schism versus Chase U. That was a hell of a match. One of the best matches on Stand and Deliver. That 8 intergender tag match was phenomenal. And you know what? Andre Chase and the Chase U, they took their game and took it up to a level. And bravo to them. Do I want to see Andre Chase over and over again? Not to my liking, because all he does is to me, side lush and leg sweep, and he does his stomp. Okay, that's it. It's all right. That's, you know what? That's what makes us all different. Tonight, NXT was a pretty good show. Expectations are extremely heavy, especially coming out after the WrestleMania weekend, Stand and Deliver weekend. A lot of expectation, a lot of disappointment from night 2 of WrestleMania to Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. So everyone's morale and disappointment level is on edge, especially what's going on behind the scenes with creative and vice presidency, who's in charge, who's not in charge right now, who's going to get furloughed, who's asking false rumors about wrestlers that want to get a release, asking for a release, who's not in here, who, if they change the script last minute, all this gossip that's happening in turmoil in the WWE currently right now. And I understand why folks are a little bit on pins and needles coming into tonight on a live NXT event. I get it. But we gotta stop hijacking some of these shows with the creative. It's what's going to end up happening is the performance center. There's going to be a performance center for them to go and elevate their talent. And the NXT Tuesday night show will be taken on the road. They're going to take it on the road. They probably do it similar to the way they do Elevation, the same way they do Rampage. Wouldn't be surprised one bit that the WWE would endeavor to cut costs, production, because we cut costs on the buses, back and forth, the water, or etc. that the NXT provide. They'll probably do it and they'll probably record it. They'll probably squeeze it in 3 hours. They probably make Raw 2-hour show, record an hour or 2 hours of NXT before it. Wouldn't surprise me one bit if they do that. If this continues to happen here, especially with the drama that happens before the show even starts, from the bus, from the who cuts who gets there and cuts in line. So tonight, NXT was a good show. The first 30 minutes, if you're at home, were commercial free. I like the fact that they could get that from time to time, give us some commercial free. They should do that every time after a premium live event, in my opinion, if they could afford it, if they could find a sponsor where WWE could give you 30 minutes commercial free, I will sign. I will love that, because not only that, it gets us invested, it gets you wanting to know the storyline. I really enjoyed the way it kicked off. Only thing I wish they would have kicked off with a match, started off hot. I love the fact that everyone gave Indy Hartwell her props, because she's well deserved. Indy Hartwell deserved that acknowledgement that the crowd gave her, because Indy Hartwell, and a little bit of peek behind, when they go to picture in picture, when they go through the promos, when they go through all the damn commercials in WWE, Indy Hartwell, when her matches are out there, and you see she's sometimes there 5 minutes, and she's there taking pictures, shaking hands, greeting the audience, the young girls, the birthday boy, the birthday girls, taking photos, selfies, acknowledging, going around through the whole arena in the front row and taking pictures. And she is a people's champion, and now we could call her our NXT Women's Champion. Well deserved. Started off with her promo, of course. Zoe Stark's challenged her for her first match. I was like, okay, Indy, Zoe, something different. I liked it. Good back and forth presentation, but I wish you would have started off. Personally, I would have tried to go hot immediately with half hour. You should have went with Dragon Lee taking on his match with Nathan Frazier, High Flyers. You should have opened that personally, but you know what? Again, we're not here to hijack the show. They know what they're doing. They know what they're bringing us into the fold. I love the fact that the crowd really enjoyed, really gave. But here's another one. The crowd booed when Indy Hartwell wants to give Roxanne Perez her first title shot. Wait a minute. Again, here's the back and forth bipolar crowd again. This is my issue. They loved, wait a minute, didn't we all, I sat there and everybody was loving Roxanne Perez when she won the breakout tournament. I was there when she cashed it in with Cora to win the time titles. We were like, wait, why she didn't go? Everybody wanted her to defeat Mandy Rose. Everybody got excited when she defeated Mandy Rose before she had to leave the company as a champion. Everybody was behind Roxanne Perez, and now she never got pinned. She didn't disgrace. She had a hell of a match. Believe it or not, she had a hell of a match with Mika Saramura. That was a hell of a match where, whatever happened, the shenanigans at the end of that, let's stand and deliver. She did the right thing. She put over a wrestler who's been in NXT for almost 3 years, crowd favorite, given the opportunity. When Indy Hartwell held that title on that ladder, you saw her smile like a relief, a smile like, you know what, I could pass the torch to someone good. I know I'm going to be here. I know I'm going to retain that title again. Let her have her time. And now we're booing her too? I don't get it. This is the thing that makes me want to scratch my head or wonder what's going on. Why are we hijacking? What's the Heckle and Hyde situation? Now Roxanne got booed. And again, you could boo and cheer whoever you like. I'm not saying here you need to control. Listen, the one that controls the cheers and booing is Joey Ding Ding. They're in the back. They tells you when to boo, when to no. You boo and cheer who you like. I get it, but the heckle and jive of this stuff, it just it doesn't look good for people that are not behind the scenes, who are outside in the world watching these NXT shows, and they're burning us in Orlando. My problem is us folks that are in Orlando that goes to these shows, we are getting burned and chastised, but we're giving them fuel to burn us. And that's what pisses me off. That's my fight. That's my anger, my frustration right now here for this video. That's why I'm a little irate and bothered. Okay, so then we have Pretty Deadly taking on Tony D'Angelo. Another match that I'm like, okay, where are we doing with Pretty Deadly? Weren't they getting called up to the main roster? We don't know. We know that the company right now is, we don't know. There's a lot of uncertainties. Thought Pretty Deadly was supposed to be part of the according to some, of course, rumors from the internet, the dirt sheets, remember, this is the dirt sheets that said Brock was leaving after WrestleMania. Last time I saw, Brock ain't going nowhere. This is the dirt sheets that said what they mentioned so many things they got wrong. Now they're saying that, Pretty Deadly was supposed to interrupt Seth Rollins' promo last night on Monday Night Raw, and then Rollins got word that they weren't going to do it. And which I'm having a hard time believing, because I know anything is possible. You could private jets you get from here or anywhere in no time, but I don't think Pretty Deadly was going to have them get a red eye into this and have a match. So I don't think Pretty Deadly was intended to be on Monday Night Raw. That's just my opinion. But supposedly they were supposed to make their debut yesterday on Monday Night Raw, which I'm again, we could take that with a grain of salt. They have a match with Tony D'Angelo. Now I'm thinking, wait a minute, I think this is a good time to start elevating a new tag team, and Tony D'Angelo with Stacks. I know they fought for the world title in that triple threat. Maybe you want to elevate them. You know what? It's time now for Tony D'Angelo to have some NXT championship, even if it's a tag team title. It's time for D'Angelo. He's been there long enough. He's been a veteran. He's been a face, a heel, a tweener who gets popped from the crowd. Maybe it's time to put him with a title. But having Pretty Deadly win the way they did, I understood it. I get it. But I was a little surprised that D'Angelo, I don't know where this goes from here, because it was like seeing two heel teams go at it. And it wasn't like an elimination back. It was just a match. A lot of this felt with a lot of fillers and matches. Like, it's supposed to be a reset of storyline, and we didn't get a reset of storyline. What we got was more fillers and more question. Again, another match, Dijak versus Odyssey Jones. You know what? On paper, it looks phenomenal. You got Dijak, who's a bigger, larger, just tall, big guy. And of course, Odyssey Jones, big, massive. I wish there was a story build here, a bigger, larger story build. You get the match. Of course, you see Dijak taking it over and defeating Jones by a pinfall. Again, where's the story? What story? What are we giving for this? This is just a regular match of a match. I would have liked to see it a little more. more. Of course, we get Dijak warning NXT locker room that he's back and he's hungry and angry. Okay, now what? Now what? How are we going to rebuild Odyssey Jones, who's a younger talent here, up and coming? I wanted to see some type of storyline. So let's see. We saw also the return of Joe Coffey. They caught an interview backstage with Gallus boys. Gallus, I like their presentation in the ring. I think they're great workers, but their accent is a little rough to understand on NXT TV. I enjoy them as a wrestling group. I love all their presentation again, but boy, it is tough to understand them with their accent. And I guess I have an accent myself. I get it, but man, it's tough to get that accent from the Gallus boys. We get Dragon Lee versus Nathan Frazier, which I thought, if me, I would have loved to see open commercial free. Let them go at it. High flyers. Dragon Lee, of course, the new international sensation from AAA wrestling to NXT. Then we have a young guy that I don't know who in the world. I don't, Norm Dar from the NXT UK Heritage Cup winner. I did not know who he was. You could clearly tell Booker T didn't know who he was. Vic Joseph tried as best as possible. Another wrestler, I wish they would have done a vignette or a promo cut before he came out of nowhere to NXT with that cup, because I did not know who in the world was this guy. At first I thought, who is this? Oh my God, a fan is jumping over. And no, it wasn't. It was this guy. He was another puny dude, another undersized wrestler, which is okay. And it's not about, this is a variety show. It's a little bit of everything for everybody. That's what wrestling is. Now, I just didn't understand who he was. I didn't get no backstory, no story, no vignettes. And the commentators couldn't tell me who he was. What does he do? Is he a submission? Does he take out? He has a devastating submission, or he's a master of suplexes, or what is he? Who is he? Just that he's carrying up a big NXT UK Heritage Cup. So I don't know who Norm Dar is. I don't know who it is. And of course, once again, this is a thing that we all complain, and we see other people complain, that AEW caters to the hardcore. Now, if you're a hardcore NXT UK fan, you know who he is, and you get excited. And rightfully so. When you see Davenport, when you see Walter, when you see Dragunov, you get excited because you've seen who they are. McDonough, Jordan Devlin. But Norm Dar, I don't know. I never heard of him. So all I see is a guy who could say was an NXT UK participation trophy. So give me some backstory. I would have loved them to try to get him over and also get physical in the match. Just don't be there. Okay. All right, some good. He didn't even get on commentary. Get on commentary and say, I am so-and-so, and I'm here. Give me a mission statement. Give me the reason why you're in NXT. Didn't even get that either. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to give that a mulligan. Maybe next week we get a little presentation, a little backstory. Listen, when they changed Fabian Eichner's name to Giovanni Da Vinci, we had vignettes. We had promos. When he was driving in the convertible, Giovanni Da Vinci coming soon, and we got that build up for Giovanni Da Vinci. We're like, oh, okay, now we know who this Giovanni Da Vinci. So everybody knew who he was. Oh, that's Fabian Eichner from Imperium. I wish they would have done this a little more with Norm Dar here. I wish they would have showed us who this guy is. Give me a build up. That's just what I'm asking for. Give me a build up. Give me an index card. Give me something to a cheat sheet on who this person coming in here. So that's just a little bit of a criticism on a crazy night. It's just a weird roller coaster, frustrating, up and down night. You could say 72 hours of professional wrestling in the industry. Then you got the women's title, NXT Women's Champion, Indy versus Zoe Starks. A back and forth match there. Pretty good there. I like to see Indy clean up more of her matches now that she's a women's champion. We got to provide her with a finisher. Indy's got to work on. They got producers, either Norman Smiley, humorist, someone back there in that NXT. We have to provide Indy Hartwell with a finisher that she's going to be executing, that she's going to take over talent and defend her women's title. I don't want to see this a short title run for Indy Hartwell. No, I don't want it to be long. I think it's going to dictate just enough for her to be women's champion. I give her about maybe have two premium live events before we see her drop that title, in my opinion, personally. And that's just good enough, personally. Because unless if she doesn't have a finishing move or do nothing special on her in-ring or take her in-ring talents to another level, that's pretty much going to get stale, unfortunately. I love Indy Hartwell again. Indy Hartwell, again, I really enjoy Indy Hartwell. I always say people's champion, and I'm glad that she's the women's champion. We saw a couple, we saw some great moves, saw some spine busters for Zoe Starks. Zoe Starks, boy, talk about a female wrestler who could jolt and bring an injection of talent to the main roster. But again, we will see what future endeavors happens with the women's main roster. The time to come, we'll do a whole another video on that. I just want to go through all this a little quick. Albert Fire and Ivor Dawn, of course, they showed them celebrating their win in a private dark room. Of course, we're going to see a rematch between Kiana James and Fallon Henley. It looks like, Brooks. It looks like she broke up with Brooks. I don't know. There's still more to that story being told. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that in a couple of weeks. Hopefully they'll, finally we'll see who this Sebastian guy is. She said she wasn't exclusive to him. She was dating until they kissed, and then she didn't give him her purse. And there's still more story to this. And let's sit back and watch and enjoy it. Let's sit back and enjoy it. It's just a story that they're telling, and let's see where it leads to. Eventually, it's going to probably lead a one-on-one or a breakup, mixed tag match. It looks like it. But let's sit back and enjoy the storytelling on that one. Ivory Now's take on Tatum Paxley. Now, these two ladies were been back and forth. I went to the house show. They fought. They had a real hard-hitting match. I wish they would have had that hard-hitting match tonight, because that match they had in Sanford was hard-hitting, back and forth. It was really a good match. I was still disappointed that they didn't bring it that hard on TV like they did on the house show. It was still a good match between the two ladies. Ivy Now gets the pinfall, actually gets the submission on Paxi, excuse me. She got the pinfall in Sanford, and she got here the submission. What I really liked about this, it'll finally we get Ivy Now with a win on TV. And I know Paxley is going to get elevated. Won't be surprised her as a heel with Big Body Javi. We all know, of course, their in-life relationship. I believe that's her fiance, whatever the case. They live together. I believe that they could go together as a heel group as well. Listen, now wrestling we're now in another generation of wrestling. You didn't know who was dating whose spouse with what. We're now with Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Bron Breakker, Adam Cole, you name it. Vicky, Seth, we all know when they have a relationship, who's their spouse, who's not their spouse. So now they bought that. Now they no more keep it fake, kayfabe, brother. It's now they bringing it into the storyline there. You could put those two together, let them go out there, wreak havoc. It's interesting to see Diamond Mine came out and hoisted Ivy up on their shoulders there, keeping all three of those three members strong. Wonder whatever happened to Roderick Strong. Is he going to get released? Wouldn't be surprised if his release is coming soon. Now with the mergers, they're going to cut people and so forth. He wouldn't be surprised. We'll see him debut elsewhere. We have the North American title. A hell of a match here. A hell of a match between Wesley and Axiom. Wasn't a big fan of Axiom personally. Wasn't a fan of his matches, but he has grown. He has worked extremely well. He has done leaps and numbers. That's why you have to leave some of these wrestlers sometime and let him marinate, let them tell a story. He is trying to chase that North American title from Wesley. Wesley grants him that title. They have a hell of a match. This could be easily the second best match of the night between Dragon Lee and Nathan Frazier. My goodness. The moves that Wesley put out to that finisher that he nailed Axiom for the pin, next level of awesomeness. Of course, this is one I could say either best match or the second best match, depending how you like it. On which to your liking. This is not a match that you hit the fast forward button in. This is not a match that you have to go. If you go get a drink, you're gonna miss something. Good job there on the victory from Wesley, and then after the match, you have an interruption. It looks like it was Scripps want to go after Axiom. Scripps does his famous flip, and he got caught with the world's devastating super kick on a flip that it looked on TV. It looked awesome. It was like, oh, mouth opening. I think he got over with the crowd. For those that weren't so much behind Axiom in that performance center tonight, with that move, not Scripps code, I think he got a lot of more fans, and that gimmick from Scripps got to go with that mask. It's a bad gimmick, but I think a lot of folks, that's where the frustration came. We saw a backstage interview with Ilya Dragunov talking about the North American champion, about he's out there to fight monsters, and we have an interruption from Bron Breakker. We haven't seen Bron Breakker in a while. Another talent being mishandled, I believe, at that height, at 6'7" or whatever he is, looking larger than life out there. Could be a menacing wrestler. I know another one that the Performance Center dislikes a lot. Don't think he's so hot. A lot of boos. Call him caveman, whatever. He's got the looks. He checks the box of a big obstacle. You could build him there. No personality. You had Robert Stone. You have Miss Cardwell, which is Maxine Dupree. With him, he didn't still get over. I think he still could wrestle, but there's something missing with a Von Wagner. I know, Samurai says, what's a Von Wagner? Well, that's a Von Wagner. And there's something missing. Next week, he's going to take on Dragunov. Robert Stone says if you lose, there will no longer be an associated. Of course, it's all been rumored that Robert Stone will be, depending, was supposed to get the call up to the WWE main roster, be part of a managerial with Chelsea Green production. And Chelsea Green is going to make a group. Believe that she might be with Sonya Deville. They might have, trying to pick up and start with the virtuosas, the way she had with Diana Peraza in Impact Wrestling. And Robert Stone might be a manager to that. I believe the WWE needs managers. They need to bring managers. Personally, Robert Stone, I've been saying it for months. Robert Stone should be a manager to Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Let him go out there and let him cut the promos. Let him get, sick the girls on the other ladies. You know what? And let him be the talk, the mouthpiece, to get the heat and get the crowd. Take the bumps with the other ladies. I think Robert Stone should go and manage Baszler and Rousey. In my opinion, I've been saying that for over months. If he goes up, if he goes with Chelsea Green, it is what it is. But I think he should be with them personally. That's just my take and my opinion. Of course, you get to the end. Of course, what I've mentioned when I started the program off, the total flip-flop with Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker. But before I get that there, we saw Cora Jade return. So I forgot to take that into consideration with the Indy Hartwell. Cora Jade return, attacks the champion, holds the world title up in her hands. We saw Tiffany Stratton as well come out first and distracted Indy towards her. Then Cora Jade came, attacked her in the ring, held up the woman's title, left the ring, and passed by Tiffany. It looks like we're going to have possibly like a fatal four-way or three-way dance eventually for the world's title, with another multi-women match to decide the NXT Women title, possibly at the next Premium Live event, which will be in Boston in the Memorial Weekend. And if that's the case, I'm all right with it. Maybe that's a way of crowning new women's champion without certain women taking the pinfall. Roxanne didn't get pinned. You put her back in there. She takes this. She'll probably, maybe Laura Valkyrie gets the pin. Or Cora Jade weasels away and cheats and knocks someone out and gets the win. And Cora Jade becomes the next women's champion. Although I think Cora Jade's future is going to be in the main roster. If things don't change the way it's been rumored, I believe it'll be Cora Jade going up with Bron Breakker eventually to the main roster. But one thing that, again, this will conclude the video. I don't want to take too long. I have to get up in the morning. One thing, again, I think WWE, I want to see what a heel Bron, if he is heel, brings. But I also would have loved him to continue to have that baby face in wrestling. It's easier to be a heel. It's extremely difficult to be a baby face. And maybe the pressure of Bron. I know next week when he comes out, I know he's going to cut a promo and he's going to blame the crowd. I guarantee that's the long-hanging fruit, blaming the crowd in NXT of why he turned and why he feels the way he feels and frustrated and he doesn't want the support of you people. I can see the same way Cora Jade turned. I think salute Jay. And I think that's where I think he's going to come out and hit that promo. I think he's going to come out and go after the crowd hard. And there's going to be a chorus of boos. Depends. I don't know what the crowd, again, you know, I don't know how they're going to react. I think it's going to be a chorus of boos for Bron. And there it is. Bron is no longer the baby face. It's not the you can't use the Bron Breakker. You know, you can't use the Cena Breaker move chance no more. He's now the heel. Something that John Cena never did, turn heel. Rey Mysterio never did, turn heel. I wanted Bron Breakker to stay that way, unless if he shows up in SmackDown and he's gone, you know, and they'll leave that door open. So whenever Carmelo Hayes returns to the main roster, if Carmelo Hayes takes that plunge to the main roster, and maybe you got Bron Breakker as United States champion, then Melo and Bron could settle it on the main roster. Maybe. Depends. It all depends. I don't right now. We are so uncertain when it comes to the World Wrestling Entertainment, where the directions they go. You know, we don't know with creative, who's in charge, who's not in charge, what's going on. The 72 hours. Let's hold back, take a deep breath. Let's see what's going to happen with the higher ups before we go crazy, and you know, not overreact if certain wrestlers get released or ask for releases. We all know the Grizzly Young Vets. There's reports that they had their release already. Some reports they're not. Some reports say they requested it and they're still with the company. So I don't know what truth it is. We didn't see anything of Schism. We didn't even, we didn't see anything whatsoever. They didn't come out live. So I don't know if where they go with it. With Schism, if both Grizzly Young Vets continue to be part of the NXT crowd. I know they were frustrated because they made them change their appearances. They made them change their names. They fought. They didn't get no titles. They fought in different titles. Then there were an opening match, a dark match. I think that was the breaking point. And then they lost the break. That I think they were just. I think it was just out of frustration with the development of the characters. But right now, to be honest with you, Schism is one of the most hottest merchandises that's being sold and moved in NXT. So they are, and they have a chance to really be a group that moves and continues to elevate. Maybe it's a chance where they turn on Gacy and have Ava Raine just take the reins, which I always thought it would be Ava Raine to take the reins away from Gacy and possibly bring on maybe if the Grizzly Young Vets are released and no longer there, where do we go? I would like to see Ava Raine bring in Bronco and Bronco Lima and his partner Lucius and have them go out there kind of like 3 minutes. If you don't have to be Schism, they could change it, and have them just take out Joe Gacy and make it, and have them be her bodyguards, and they wreak havoc. They're ready, guys. Those guys are ready. It's time to elevate some of these guys that already been in level up, as we saw earlier, the vignettes. Tank Ledger. I don't know, Tank. Tank, Danny Palmer, Obi Fema. They're okay wrestlers. You got guys like Bronco should be getting elevated. They should be getting it up to the, NXT started a storyline and his partner. So it is what it is. So that is the NXT. That's my frustration there with Bron Breakker there, allowing me to vent, turning heel and the crowd there again. Please be respectful. Don't turn your back on camera. It looks terrible. And that's why other podcasters away from Orlando that don't live here, they just roast the crowd in NXT. When you turn around there and listen, they all notice that you wear the same damn jerseys over and over, brother. Change the drip, brother. Change the drip. Raw sells some nice jerseys for some. You could get them for $7.99, brother. Change the drip. That's all I say. For me, hey, I'm sorry you find that as a heel move. It is what it is. I am BX Sports Jedi Kev, and if you ain't down with the Heel the Ring podcast, I've got 2 words for you. Just subscribe. Good night.
I'm awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab a bat, I don't know, my rap, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll bleed on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fuck up real bad.
Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waugh.
Yeah! Let me talk to you. War game.